So hello and welcome to today's webinar on reinventing your brand. I'm Serena Lowe, the Midlife Career Mentor, and this is webinar number 4 in the Reinvent webinar series where I interview inspiring business owners and individuals for their top tips on how they have reinvented themselves and how we can do the same. So this webinar will run for 60 minutes. I will ask that you keep your questions to the end or type them in the chat box, and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. And make sure you stay till the very end because our guest speaker has something very exciting that she wants to share with you. So I'm very excited to introduce our guest speaker for today. Her name is Vanessa O'Brien, and has she got a story to share? Hi, Vanessa.
Hello.
Vanessa, tell us where you're joining us from.
The sunny, generally warm right now, Gold Coast.
Oh, I'm so envious. We're freezing down here in Melbourne.
I know, that's why I said generally warm because the sun's out and I've just been outside and it's been good.
Right, so Vanessa, what are you going to be talking about today?
Well, I'm going to be talking about my journey, how I've reinvented myself, not just once, I've reinvented myself twice as such, and especially in a short space of time, and that it's totally okay to do so. Yes, some people might get confused, but here's the thing. It's like, it's you, it's your journey. Eventually you'll get everything together like I have and nail it sort of thing. So just be patient with yourself.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about that. When you say you've reinvented yourself, what exactly do you mean?
Well, first, I'm not going to start from when I was born or anything. That far. No, it's just in my recent past, especially my entrepreneurial journey and personal branding wise. Now I call myself a pet guardian. To get to that point, I had to reinvent myself actually a couple of times. Like, I started out as a pet sitter, like with my Gold Coast Pets business, but even prior to that, I was a stripper sort of thing. So there's that. There's like going from stripping to, of course, the pet business. But my pet business was more public than, of course, the stripping business. So we'll stick with that. And so I started as a pet carer, house sitter. That's all I called myself. And I was in the pet space. That's great. But what I ended up doing was coming out as a stripper. I actually held back and hid the fact that I used to be in the adult entertainment industry for the longest time when I started my business in the pet industry. I thought people would totally poo-poo me and just look down through their nose at me, and it'll just wreck my business and my life would end and all this sort of stuff. So I eventually came out about the fact that I used to be previously a stripper, and from that came another business called Lady V's Stripper Like Confidence. So I ended up starting to transition from being just a pet person and in with dogs and cats and all that sort of stuff. Whoop, bang, I'm now a sexuality, actually I called myself a sensuality coach sort of thing. And I went with that. And I actually did that business, got publicity for it and all this sort of stuff. So I actually legitimately did Lady V's Stripper Like Confidence for a bit. And then from there came the next thing, the next reinvention of myself. It's just my journey with life. This is just all that is happening. Is Lady B just ended up not so petering out. That's not the word for it. It's just that I realized I was trying to push it to be something that it wasn't. So I got that and I moved it to being like a more of a side business, a hobby, paying hobby sort of thing. And it's still, it's in the background for me. It's still there. But it's not me anymore. It was part of me. It was part of my journey, but it's not me anymore. And then from there, I became what I called a tribe connector. And that was because of the live streaming space, not about Zoom. It was actually more about Periscope. And Periscope came into the live streaming space. This was before Facebook Live, and it was the only one there. So I got heavily involved with Periscope, and because of that, because everyone saw how involved I was like broadcasting every day when I started on that platform. And I started getting inquiries. Can you teach me about it? How can I use this for my business? Blah, blah, blah. So I started to move into that space and went from pet carer, sensuality coach, to I reinvented myself again as a live broadcaster / live broadcasting coach as such. And then what happened there is Periscope and Facebook Live and a lot of other things started swirling around happening, and I went, you know what, it's getting too much. It's really burnt me out. I actually went into burnout, I will be quite honest. And I went, you know what? It wasn't sitting right. It wasn't fully me. It was great, and it allowed me to do what I love, which is this, live broadcasting, talking to people and stuff like that, connecting people authentically.
Yep.
But it wasn't me. And I went back to my pet care business. And when I went back to my pet care business, I didn't go back to it the same way it started as such. And so the pet care business I started with and the pet care business I have now are same, but different. And hence that's where the pet guardian thing comes from, because I realized I didn't want to just have the same business. I didn't want to be regarded as having the same business. So my last reinvention, and this is, believe me, my last one, and it fits. Like, it just fits. For me, it just fits. Like, I'm totally cool with the whole pet guardian branding that I've come up with and everything. And it just, finally, I found something that seems to be like, like this. It's like comfortable, and, I feel good in it, and it's it. So I think so. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's fantastic. All right, so I'm going to hand over the time now to Vanessa, because she's going to be talking about how we can reinvent our brand and what that means for our business. So I'm going to put myself on mute, and I'm going to stop my video. And Vanessa, it's all yours.
All right. So I have the notes in front of me. Don't worry, Serena. I just forgot to put them up in front of me. But regardless, what I'm going to do is go over with, first of all, how to just give yourself permission, sort of thing, to give yourself permission to go through this journey. Because this is a journey for me that, as you can see, I started one thing, then went, whoa, another thing, and then went, whoa, another thing. And believe me, a lot of people were confused, really confused of, who are you? What are you doing? Are you going to go off on a tangent of another thing? Like, when I started the Pet Guardian part of my personal branding, they were like, are you, what, again? That's okay. People are going to always do that. You're always going to have not so much the haters, but just people being a little frustrated and confused. But that's okay. We are all growing. We're all developing. We're all getting to know ourselves. And eventually you'll get to, like I have, I'm near 40 now, granted, so it's taken me a while. You'll get to that point where you just feel like, yes, this is it. No, this is it. So give yourself permission to do that. Give yourself permission to explore and go through that journey, because eventually you'll get there. Eventually you'll have that personal branding, to have that, whatever you want to call it, label or whatever, and it'll just be like, this is it. This is it. This is it for life. This is it, sort of thing. So that is the biggest point I want to give you guys, sort of thing. Now, the next one is, of course, how of course we can use it for our business. The next point is in here, sorry guys, how to create a business that lets you nurture your multiple passions. Now, I have, as you can tell, I've definitely got multiple passions. Pets are my biggest one. Definitely pets are my biggest passion. It always was. Even when I went on the tangent for Lady B and the live streaming, I always had that thing for the pets, passion for the pets in the background. But now I am actually using all of what I've learned previously in my branding now. So what I'm doing is using my live broadcasting skills. I am now using Facebook Live. I'm still using Periscope. I'm using Snapchat, because I developed that skill thanks to the live streaming coaching. And then what Lady B allowed me to do was reconnect with my feminine self as such. And by reconnecting with my feminine self, I'm now got a business that feels a little bit more holistic, a little bit more balanced as such. Because I can tell you right now, when I had Gold Coast Pets, this is what the business is called, Gold Coast Pets, and I started that pet care business, it was very much in the male space. I used these words: I will dominate the Gold Coast. That's the words I used for my ambition for what I wanted Gold Coast Pets to be. I want to dominate the Gold Coast. Anyone knows that's kind of a very male-centric, like as far as energies go. It's very male sort of centric energy and very, that sort of thing. So what I found is, I was over here very in the driven, ambitious, male-centric, Lady V allowed me to reconnect with my feminine self, allowed me to reconnect with those energies, not deny them. So now, after learning the live broadcasting stream, I am here. I give myself permission to brush my hair, to wear makeup if I need to. Like, yes, I know I don't have any right now, but I'm comfortable in my skin. That's the other thing. Lady V's stripper-like confidence gave me, as far as that gave me the permission to be comfortable in my skin, who I am on video, and who I am out there in the world as well. So all those passions come together to the pet guardianship, because I now not just motivate the pets. Yeah, you know, I train them, I help them be happy and joyous, but through training them, there's also me training the people. I'm still coaching. I'm still doing a little bit of coaching and holding the space for people. So there's that. And the next thing I wanted to do is, of course, how to let your business evolve with your identity along with your passions, okay? Like, that is the biggest message here. Your business can evolve, even if it's the same business. You can go, right, you know, it's not about bright, shiny object syndrome. It was a little bit for Periscope for me initially, but then I realized I liked it. And I actually have done this before. I'm wearing something on purpose. It's not been stripping, no, it's just, I'm going to just pull it down here for a little bit. Now, I'm showing this for a reason. I key into something. That's called the seismic squirrel. Okay, it's a bit of internet history here. It's called the seismic squirrel. And seismic was a live broadcasting platform quite a few many years ago, like early 2000s as such. And I was actually involved in that a lot. Hence the reason I got this top. I actually got this top because I was so involved, and I was one of the few Australians involved, and one of the few females too, that they sent me this and a special little card to say thank you for being and supporting Seismic, blah, blah, blah. So I actually have always had a passion for live broadcasting, but it wasn't until Periscope came into the forefront, the technology started to catch up with us, and that we can now live broadcast via our phones. I was able to evolve what I'm doing now. So Pet Guardianship is now using this. I'm able to connect globally via Snapchat, via Periscope, via Facebook Live, as well as locally, because Facebook's great for that. Facebook Live's really, really good for local connections, especially if you have a page like I have, Gold Coast Pets and Gold Coast Lost and Found Pets. These are very much local pages, and when I broadcast on them, I'm definitely seeing a lot of local connections on there. So I'm using my live broadcasting passion I've always had. I'm using my passion for performing, hence, you know, Lady B. Yeah, but also I'm using my passion to empower people, to give them choice, to have more joyous lives. And then, of course, my pets, my passion for pets. Allow your business to evolve. It's okay. If you have a couple of distractions along the way, you go off and do this, or you go off and do that, and it didn't work out, so what? But you've probably learned something. You have probably learned something from it that you can now use now or in the future, or even pass on to someone else. This is the beauty about doing this journey, of course, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, sort of. Okay, the next one is how to not let your past get in the way of fulfilling your life's work. Okay. Does that sound like I let my past as a stripper? Yes, I did initially, actually. Yes, I did. I initially did let my past as a stripper influence my present when I became a pet carer. But once I came out about it, and as you can see, I'm really got no qualms about it. It's just something I did. Something I did in my 20s, like, you know, for 8 years or something like that. It's just something I did. And I will never regret that part of my life. I learned a lot about myself, a lot about business, believe it or not. And just, it really grew me as a woman and as a person. So I will never regret that part of my life. But here's the thing. When I started the Gold Coast Pets business, I took on a lot of shame about it. I took on a lot of shame for so long. Like, the Gold Coast Pets business I started in 2007. I didn't really come out about being a former stripper and stuff like that till about 2009 or 10. So there was quite a few many years I was holding on to this pressure of, I can't tell anyone. I just can't. Oh my God, you know. But then once I did, I realized, yeah, that's it. I mean, it was like, what's the big deal? What was the big deal? It was all in my head. So don't let your past define your future. So my past totally could have held me back. You know, I could have kept going and holding on to that shame about it and never telling a soul. Yeah, I could have. But that's kind of denouncing a very vital part of my life that I am definitely not ashamed of, actually. I was taking on other people's shame for it. So that's where you need to recognize it's a shame you're holding on to something, your shame, your beliefs, you know, and stuff that's there holding you back, or is it other people's shame that's holding you back? So I think for me, it was other people's shame at the time. And then I came out about being a stripper and created Lady B, Stripper Like Confidence. And of course, as you know, the journey goes from there. So I think, so yes, please never let your past get in the way of fulfilling what you do in the future. Because believe me, what I'm planning to do in the future, someone's going to bring it up. Someone's going to bring it up and she's going, oh, she used to be a stripper, you know, sort of thing. And it's just like, and I used to also be a waitress in my 20s. I used to, you know, wait tables. I used to do cafe stuff, work in hospitality. You know, it's just something I did. So if you know what I mean. So believe me, I know there's people out there right now that might be sex workers even. I am going to mention that because my former background in stripping, I've had people over the years approach me and go, I used to work at XXX, sort of thing to me, and go, oh my God, I'm so glad you spoke out about it. So I'm going to say right now, those who are even being sex workers in any capacity, stripper, you know, topless waitress, you know, there's all sorts of ways people can work in the adult entertainment industry as well as sex workers. We're talking about escorts, of course, and everything like that. It's just, remember, it's just a thing to do, and people will poo-poo it. The people will put shame on it, and of course, and stigma. And that's just the way society is about it. That's all it is. But ultimately, it's up to you how you handle it. Do you go, not so much wear it as a badge of honor, but do you go, look, it was part of my life. It was part of my life journey. I don't really regret it. It allowed me to learn certain things about myself, society, or whatever it is that you learn from it, and you've moved on. You know, don't worry about your shame influencing. Your past influeing your future. Don't have too much shame about it. Of course, and then the biggest last thing I have for you guys, and this might seem off tangent, but there's a reason why I can reinvent myself so quickly and so easily a couple of times. Systems and processes. Boring as hell. Believe me. Boring. Oh, snooze, you know. But they are key. They are so key. I learnt about them very, very much. So when I grew my Gold Coast Pets business, a lot of people don't realise this. With the Gold Coast Pets business, I grew it from pretty much just being a website. It was, when I bought it, I pretty much only bought a website. There wasn't really a client list attached to it. Honestly, none of those clients went with me. I knew I was starting from scratch, but I knew the website was SMIC. It had good Google search ratings and all this sort of stuff. So I was good. I was set to go. And so basically used the website, networked in my community. And that's the key thing here. Network with the other people in your industry. Do not be afraid of them, please, because the strength of my Gold Coast business was the fact that I did network with other pet sitters, dog walkers, and everyone that's my competition. And I do say competition like that because I actually always call them colleagues, because I can tell you right now how I'm different to the next person, to the next person, to the next person. We're all got our, I can definitely spot it, you know, and not everyone's going to like me too. There is that. Not everyone's going to like, oh, she used to be a stripper. Oh, hell no, I'm not going to go there. Or it's not even that. They just might not like something about me. It's just, that's just the way it is, because being with pets, it is a personal relationship I have with the pet parents when providing the pet care. So yeah, so I grew it from me, and then I took on my first subcontractor, and then eventually it got to the point where I had me up here, business owner, and then underneath me was my PA, or actually technically she was a VPA, which is a virtual personal assistant. This lady worked up to that point. She used to be a virtual assistant, a VA for me, for my pet care business. Then I gave her more and more tasks to do. She became a virtual receptionist for my business. And then eventually got to a point where, you know what, you're going to help me organise my life. I gave her the VPA role, sort of thing, so virtual personal assistant. And so she was underneath me, working for me, and then pretty much my subcontractors were kind of underneath her because they would have more contact with her than me. I would hire them, of course. I still was in charge of very much the hiring in that stage. I had a system process for the hiring, believe me. Systemize that, baby. And yeah, I had 1, 2, 3, about 5 or 6 going at any one time of subcontractors here on the Gold Coast. And I was going really, really well. I was growing, and I grew. That all happened over about 3 to 4 year period. So from 2007 plus 3 to 4 years, you do your math, you got what I was getting at. And people were approaching me to go, you should license it, you should franchise it, you know, and all this sort of stuff. Believe me, I considered it, but then I realized, no, that's not really what I wanted to do. Didn't mesh with me. And ultimately, I got to this point where I was successful, and I say successful like that because in the end, once again, I realized it was someone else's definition of success. I thought this is where I wanted to be, but it sounded marvelous. It sounds marvelous on paper that I was up here and I had a VPA and she looked after the business pretty much, and everyone, all my subcontractors and my clients and everything like this. So I didn't actually have to work much in the business, or I worked more on it and as needed, and I could take like a week or 2 off, still get income and still earn money, and everything worked perfectly and fine. Nothing went, you know, sort of thing, because like I said, systems and processes, and it's always about a process of refining them. You're never perfect. The systems and processes will never ever be perfect. It is grows with you, basically. As you learn more, as you learn your strengths and weaknesses, and just as you learn more, your systems and processes will learn with you as such. So basically, I had all of them and all this, and I was doing this, in success, yeah, all this money, yeah. I was stressed. I was stressed out. I didn't realize how unhappy I was. Honestly, I was really stressed out. But can you blame me? I was very much in a very male space with the energies and the way I was doing that business. I have really, really disconnected from my feminine self, from that sort of energy as such. And that's where I'm so glad I did come out about the stripping, because once again, I used all the lessons I learned. It's about systemizing businesses, about creating processes, and put it into Lady V. And basically I created, right, you know, it goes, this is the freebie, and then it goes into this. I knew what the sales funnel would be like, and this is how the website would be set up, and I'll do this for promotion and marketing and all this sort of stuff. And I kind of took what I learned over here about how to systemize people and a business and put it into the new one, and so I was able to hit the ground running with that, and it really did hit the ground running with that. And then I did the exact same thing. I went, right, you know, I'm going to do the live streaming, coaching as such, you know, coach people to get on Periscope, because like I said, Facebook Live wasn't in the, it was new, it was coming at that stage, but it wasn't really there. So basically I, once again, systemized process, this is the freebie, this is the W sales file, this is how the page is going to work, this is what I'm going to live stream about, blah, 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 sort of thing. I created a program See, this is where systems and processes come in. I actually created a program. Each day would have a theme. Monday would be meet and greet. Tuesday would be tips, Periscope tips and tricks sort of thing. Wednesday would be whatever, and you know, this sort of stuff. I think Thursday was something along the lines of like promote yourself sort of thing and all this sort of stuff. But I had a little program, I created a graphic, put it up there, people knew what I was doing each day and everything. It's because, once again, systemizing it. And even with the Periscope and the live broadcasting itself, there was a process I went through. You know, you open it up, you know, say hi and welcome people in, and there was a wave, I opened it, and then of course went into the content, and there was a way I would always close it sort of thing, so people knew, and then we get familiar with that as well. So systemization of a business and processing, it sounds processing, but processing of a business, it is a must. This is the only way you're going to, if you want to reinvent yourself, it will take a lot of the stress out of it, and you can do it quickly and easily then. Because I will say this, it is thanks to me putting those system processes in place that I was able to, go switch, sort out. And people, you know, got confused on my personal branding for the longest time there, because they were like, oh yeah, so you're Lady B. Oh, okay, cool, you know, that was good. And then of course I switched from there to, you know, something else, and I'm like, okay, now you're what? Weren't you doing the other thing before? And now I'm doing the pet guardian. Okay, and lastly, that was a big key I wanted you guys to have. Sorry, my phone. is to basically go over everything in the nutshell for you here. Is 1, give yourself permission. Give yourself permission. You can reinvent yourself. You're allowed to reinvent yourself. And even if you do it in a very quick succession of time period, because that actually happened in a very quick succession of time. I went from Gold Coast Pets to Lady B to the Live Tribe Connector to Pet Guardian. That all happened in about the space of 2 to 3 years. I did all that. So it's a very quick little succession of things. The Tribe Connector only died, really, in a way. I retired that in about December or December/January. January this year, December last year, because I got to a point with it and I was just like, it burnt me out. I was just like, no, it's not fitting. And if you burn out, it's not the fit. It's not what's working for you. Believe me, listen to yourself. Listen. It's worth listening, okay? Because the pure fact, that will give you a big person. I'm listening to my intuitive guidance. I'm not a very big spiritual woo-woo lady person sort of thing. I have that aspect to myself in my life, you know, one of my passions, and I do incorporate that also into my pet care business, because I link with people that do Reiki, link with people that are animal communicators, link with people that do acupuncture, acupressure, all sorts of massage and all this sort of stuff. Like, I'm good on traditional. I am all over traditional veterinary stuff and love it. And also traditional, what I call traditional dog trading and everything like this. But sometimes they're not all, it's not the be all and end all. And my passion for spirituality, my passion for complementary or alternative therapies and everything like that, I have incorporated that into my new business by offering that when I do what I call board and trains, where dog boards with me and I train it, and especially if it's got anxiety issues, I'll use essential oils, I'll use bush flower essences, I'll use music. Believe me, music, very powerful. That lesson from my stripper-like confidence even. And then, of course, you know, traditional dog training methods, of course, as well. And so here's the thing, you can definitely be a multi-potentialite. That is, look up that TED Talk, a multi-potentialite, someone who has multiple passions for pets, passions for live broadcasting, passion for spirituality or, you know, alternative complementary therapies. I've got passion for women to discovering their true selves and having permission to be their true selves and just empowered, I guess is the best word, sort of thing. So I sometimes do that through their pets now. I give them choices. I give them the ability to have those choices. And because it's very interesting, the relationship, because when the pet is very reflective, is holographic in a way of the person. And if the person is stressed and there's stuff happening in her life, it's kind of reflected in the pet. And they kind of like, oh, the pet's stressing me out. And then the pet's, of course, reflecting that stress back. And then it's kind of, you know, yeah, ping pong like that. It's kind of constantly going like that. So if I help the pet out, it's definitely going to help the woman out. And so nothing against guys. I'm definitely empowering of guys too, believe me. But unfortunately, with my pet care business, most of my pet carers in the business, people that are pet carers as well as the pet parents, are female that I'm speaking with. The guys too, because if they have a woman that's empowered, they have a woman that isn't stressed, guess what? They're not stressed either. They get to have a lot more pleasant life, certainly. But I still, like I said, I still have Lady V actually as a business, but I actually have it systemized, once again, in its own way, pestering off in the background. It works, Sir Dale. So yes. Oh, I agree. Why some of us don't have one true calling? We don't. I do now. I feel like what my path is, what I'm doing now is going to be what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. But didn't happen overnight. Did not. And I was, thanks to everything else that happened beforehand, that I was able to have what I'm doing now and what I'm planning to do in the future. And what I'm planning to do in the future is very interesting. It might seem like I'm going off another tangent and reinventing myself, but actually, no, I'm just being more specific. I'm just doing that whole be specific thing. Niche it. But no, it's just, I have a passion for pets, and I realize you can't help everyone. That's just the way things are, life. And lots of people out there helping in that space, in animal welfare, animal rights, whatever, in doing their own things, you know. And believe me, I've been sitting back and watching and looking and trying to figure out where I fit in that, because I definitely know my rest of my life journey is definitely with pets. Like I said, incorporating all my other passions. But how can I move to the future, do all that, get all my passions together, move to the future now, and find where I really, really want to fit, sort of thing. And I have finally done that. It's not going to happen overnight. Like I said, system processes, working on that. I'm working on creating the systems and process for this new business, and that's not going to happen overnight because of pure fact. It's sending me into a different direction I haven't really gone before, sort of thing. So I am exploring a new territory for me, but that's sort of scary, but exciting at the same time. I love it. And this is the thing. I feel like I'm in the right space for it now. Age-wise, definitely. I'm nearly 40. No one can argue with me now that I'm not young. She's just young and she's still got life ahead of her. You know, yeah, I know. I'm still quite young, but at the same time, I feel age-wise, I'm at a good age. I'm at a good age to pursue this new angle on the pet care that I'm doing, and just everything is slowly coming together. And like I said, I'm working on the systems and processes for this new thing that I want to make it sure it works, and it works freaking well, okay? Because if it doesn't, then oh well, then I'll try something else. But you know, not really. I really think there really is something for it. I'm not going to mention it just yet because I'll allow Serena to tell me when to mention it. But right now, we'll just say hold that thought, sort of thing. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to type them below, because I've probably covered a lot, and you're probably all like sitting there going, holy shit, this woman can talk. So I'll let Serena take over quickly.
Thanks very much for that, Vanessa. I loved that. I love that talk of yours. I took down so many notes. I was particularly noticing that masculine feminine divide you were talking about, how being in that male dominated environment, with the systems and the processes which are so necessary for running a business. But at the same time, you said that it caused you to feel disconnected from your feminine self. And then you had to deal with your issues about the past and what you said about taking on not necessarily your own shame, but other people's shame. And connecting back to that feminine side, which was actually your previous business, incarnation in a sense. Then using that to reinvent yourself again.
Yes, true. It's totally true. Basically, like I said, I use those words. I will never forget those words that I said to myself when I first started the pet care business. I want to dominate the Gold Coast sort of thing as my goal. That is such a male-centric goal. I'm sorry to say it is. It's a very male-centric goal. Whereas then when I did the Lady B Stripper Like Confidence, I had to learn to be feminine. That is very feminine. When you become a stripper, as such, like what I was teaching for that was very much being, being in control, but it's more, the feminine is about creating and about flow as such, and not about domination. No, that's fun though, but it's just about allowing the other person to be, but working with that person, if you know what I mean, and doing it. And it allowed me to reconnect to being in that feminine sort of flow and receiving and creation and all that sort of stuff, not just be all like, sort of thing, we are going to do this, sort of thing, hustle, hustle, hustle. I'm so grateful for the Lady V coming into my life, that business, because it really did allow me the space to reconnect in that fashion. I really had, seriously disconnected. And thanks to that, doing that and then that, I'm now in this space where I feel I'm a bit a mixture of both now. I can use one when I need to and use the other when I need to, and sometimes it's a mixture of both. Sometimes it's neither. So yeah.
So that's also about your kind of it's something to do with your growth mindset as well, isn't it? It's being open and resourceful and not locking yourself into a certain structure or a certain way that doesn't work anymore, but being open to receive new ways of doing your business or even expressing yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Because one thing about the stripper like confidence I was teaching is that there's no one right way to do it. Like I could teach tips and tricks and stuff, but ultimately how each woman did the stripping per se was different, because I'm petite. I've got a small bust, got a great ass, this sort of thing. I dance to my body, and I had to then, if someone's a larger lady or even larger bust, whatever, I had to, allow her to dance in a way that she wanted, or if she had hang-ups about her arms or something like this. Okay, so we had to create and adapt to that, like what is it that person wanted, sort of thing. So that's what it taught me, and I was able to take with me into the other like what I'm doing now as such, allowing sort of thing, and not just being like, no, it's got to be like this, it's sort of thing.
So I just want to say a special hello to Vanessa Talbot and Chile Yong, who are on the call with us. Chile's in Malaysia, if I'm not mistaken, and Vanessa's here in Orange in the New South Wales. Right, we've got a question from Chile here, which says, I'm at my middle-age crisis. I lost everything, had to return to my hometown and start humbly. I'm working freelance currently with a water specialist company while waiting for my import-export business to pick up. My question is, I would like to share my success and failures with women who are lost in their journey. So how do I identify my strengths, my passion? How do I start reinventing myself, and what systems can you share with me? Because you talked a lot about systems and processes for reinvention.
Yeah, but I'll start with the first part, like how to identify your strengths and your passion. That honestly is just comes. You just have to listen. That's the best way I can put it. Is I'm very, like I was saying before, I'm very intuitively driven. I always have been, and so I just listen. You'll just yeah, no, it just, it'll fit. You'll hear it. It'll come through, and like something you're watching on TV, even like, it's like, oh, I'm watching on that, and you go, actually, I wanted that. Or you hear someone doing something, or you attend an event, someone's presenting or something, and you go, you know what, that sounds very interesting. You try it, and it's actually all about trying and listening and going, is that it? Is that what I'm passionate about? Because for me, I did the Lady B and all that sort of stuff in a very short span of time, and they are still passions of mine, but ultimately my biggest passion is definitely pets. And that's where the reason why I went back into it was because, once again, I sat there and listened, and I went, no, I really want to go, no, that's really where I sit, and that's my strength and my passion sort of thing.
So listening.
Yeah, it's just listening. Then how to start the reinvention? Make the decision to. It really is that simple. It's a case of, like I said, some of the reinventions of mine happened really quickly because I was all like, no, I'm going to do it, and quickly went, full ball into it sort of thing, But the next one that I'm doing is taking its time. I'm going to allow it to take its time to come up and be reinvented as such. But so if it happens quickly or if it doesn't happen quickly, that I can't say, because your life journey is your life journey. But all it takes ultimately is just a decision. I'm going to do it. No, I'm going to do it. That's all it takes. Yeah. And then lastly, what system can you share? To be honest, my systems come from a lot of different sources. There's no one system for me, and it's come from a lot of trial and error, trying this person's, trying that person's thing. That worked, that didn't work, that worked for me, and I like that, or whatever. And honestly, this whole system thing, that's what it came from. So my advice for people is to go out there, find people who do systemizing of businesses, and listen to them. Take notes and try them out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if some of it does work, keep it, sort of thing. And it really is trial and error. It's just like marketing. Marketing is that too. Like, you put marketing out there, and that worked, that didn't work. Oh, if we tweak that, then okay, now that's working. That's how systems or processes work. And because I can tell you right now, my Gold Coast Lost and Found Pets page, it might be a Facebook page, but it's actually a resource. I actually call it a resource because a lot of the pet community here on the Gold Coast, especially online, will tell people, oh, you've got a lost dog or a found dog, go to Gold Coast Lost and Found Pets. And I have a team of people, they're all volunteers, I have a team of people. And because I've got a whole little team there, I have to definitely have systems and processes. And that didn't happen overnight. See, that page has been around since 2011, and it was just me. Then I took on one person, and then we grew the team from there. And the process we have now is still forever evolving. It's forever evolving, forever tweaking, because I'll learn something from someone else, and I'll try it out. If it doesn't stick, then fair enough, we'll try something else, sort of thing. So, yeah. So, unfortunately, with systems, I can't give specific advice because I need to know more specifics about like what you're planning to do, what you have done, where you're at, and what you're planning to do as such. So I can't give specific advice, but the biggest one I can do is just read and try stuff. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's all I can do.
Great. So I've written down your 4 tips as you were talking about them. Number 1 was to listen. Number 2 was to make a decision, to commit to that reinvention process. Number 3 was letting things take their time, because you said it's a personal journey for everyone. So some of us, things will evolve quicker than others, and some slowly. And then trying different things and finding out what works.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Serena. I take the talk. My weakness and my strength.
And your biggest asset probably as well.
Sorry, I just have to laugh. Oh, yeah, that's okay, Chile. Thank you. Sorry, I just thought, thank you.
Now, Vanessa, you said you had something you wanted to share with us that was very exciting.
Yes.
Did you want to do that?
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Like I said, I was alluding to it before because I was like, no, I want to wait till the end. Better wait till the end. All right. So, like I was saying, I'm going through another reinvention. I'm keeping the Pet Guardian personal branding, but my business, Gold Coast Pets, is going through its own reinvention, and it's not going to happen overnight. And it has a name. It's called the Summerlands Project. Yes. Didn't happen overnight either. This has been percolating for a long time. And it's only recently I went, you know what? Once again, I made the decision to actually pursue this. And what specifically I'm planning to do, there's a couple of stages for it. The first stage is to come up with what I call a proof of concept. And what that is going to be a brick and mortar, actually center, like something physical center here on the Gold Coast. Hopefully, so I don't have to drive far. But anyway, the brick and mortar centre on the Gold Coast is going to specialise in senior pet care. And that will be like a respite centre for, it's going to be set up for the pets, but also the people, for respite, for palliative and hospice care sort of thing. So it's specifically going to target the senior pet care and the people who have senior pets, because not everyone that has a senior pet is old. I've had senior pets. I've had old pets, and I wasn't old. That's the thing when I had them. So, but the one thing I've seen with this is the stress people have with that. I went through it myself. With my other pets that have since transitioned. But yeah, I've seen how much stressful it is, and having a centre set up specifically for it will help hopefully take some of that stress away, and of course provide options. Like I was saying, I love providing options for people, and traditional as well as holistic, alternative, whatever you want to call it, complementary therapies in this actual brick and mortar centre. So that's the first phase. The second phase, the ultimate dream, is for it to be like this place. And it will require space. I need like lots of acres, but it's going to then be a bigger concept of the whole thing, but still focused on ultimately, of course, people with senior pets in regards to the respite and everything like that. But that's way down track. That's a long vision. But for now, what I'm asking for people to do now for me is, if you are a pet person, if you have pets, or you don't even have to have pets, it's a case of you are what you call yourself a pet lover, and you would love just to be part of the community in regards to this, because I'm always going to be very collaborative with the community in regards to this. I need your help. I can't do this by myself. And I'm not talking even financial. Like, yeah, there'll be times when I'll be seeking help, of course, because it's going to be a social community aspected sort of like focused business. But same time, there could be little things that you can help with, or even if you just want to stay part of the journey, watch it and be able to share in that. But that's all I'm asking, is for people to connect with me if they want to help out. So, because I just need so much help with that. I am not going to be able to, if I want to see this happen, I need your help sort of thing, and any way, shape or form that you think you can help sort of thing. So, yeah.
So how do people get involved, Vanessa?
Easy. I'm trying to keep it very easy for everyone right now, sort of thing, because it is very much in the planning stages and everything. Kept things very low tech. So basically, it's petlovebiz.com, and all my social media is on there. So choose your poison. I call it choose your poison. So your poison might be Facebook, your poison might be Snapchat, your poison might be Instagram, whatever. But I want you just to connect with me. That's all I'm asking for people to do is connect with me. And here's a trick. Serena just learnt it. It's a case of in the opening sequence, and even on my Facebook and everything like this, I want to give you guys a quick heads up on a little tip and trick. All right, it's a little techie thing. This is, like I said, one of my passions is tech. Yeah. So I'm incorporating it. If you have Facebook Messenger, now this is for people who have Facebook Messenger, what you want to do is open it up, okay? And when you go, I don't know what the Android version looks like. This is the iPhone version. Click on people down below, when you click on people or load up, of course, waiting, Vodafone. And I don't know if you can, I'll put it right in front there. Can you see where it says scan code?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right at the top there, just under
right
that blue strip. Yep.
It says scan code. Now, my Facebook profile, my image and the one that Serena's got too, click on that. It will open up this. And you see that circle, aim it, like of course this is, you're using this camera here, aim it at my picture. And then you can instantly connect with me via Messenger, and feel free to send me a message and say, hi, I would love to connect with you in regards to the Summerlands project, or even if you've got any ideas or want to help in some way, feel free to do that. So like I said, I'm just trying to make it really easy for people to connect with me in regards to it right now, because I need you guys. I need the community's help. It's for me to be able to realize this. So
can we see if this works like right now? If I put on that title slide that has your face on it.
Yeah. Yeah, go for it. I'll try and do it on my end.
Okay, let's have a look.
All right, I'm going to move my video out of the way so I can have a look. See. All right, so
people.
Go to people, aim it at my image, click on scan code. And once it loads up, the camera loads up, you aim it at there and then scan code, and yeah, you should be able to instantly connect sort of thing. You've got to make sure it's in the actual thing. Hold your camera up. There you go. Go straight into it.
And then what do you do? Click on
people. Yep. And then click on scan code. Wait for the camera to load up.
Yep.
And then the circle, aim it at my code.
Yes.
And then it should instantly do something. It should be able to get a message to send straight to me.
Do I need to press that white button below the image, or does it go automatically?
No, it'll do it automatically. All you have to do is hold it up for a couple of seconds on there, and it'll go bam. I'll go into it.
No, mine's not doing it. It might be that it's an iPhone 4 and it's really, really slow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just wait for it. You got to have to hold it up. It's basically what's happened there is Facebook has seen what Snapchat's doing, and Snapchat has things called Snapchat codes where people can do the same thing, scan it, add people instantly. And so they're going, yeah, we're going to do the same thing. So yeah, that is just another way for people to connect with me. Say hi and just say you want to connect with me in regards to the Summerlands project. Then I'll know what you're going on about. Otherwise, I'll be like, are you a spammer? No. But definitely say why you're connecting with me. Otherwise, I might be like, oh.
That's a really clever way to keep out the tire kickers and the scammers, actually.
Yeah, if you don't say why you're connecting with me, sometimes I'm all like, okay, I don't really reply because I'm like,
yep.
Yeah. So always tell me why. Hi, I'm connected with you. I'm a pet person. Hi, I'm connecting with you. I want to connect in regards to Summerlands project. So,
great.
Yeah.
Great. Let's have a look. Is anybody else got any comments? I'm just taking a look inside. Nifty little thing. It's time to upgrade the phone. It's taking. So what's next? What's next on your journey? So this will be the thing that you're working on now, and you're sure this is going to be for the rest of your life.
Yes, I am now. I am. I've been actually hiding from it in a way for some time, but I'm glad I did, because it needed to, what I call, percolate. That's the best word I could find for it. Is it needed to sit in the background. It needed to percolate so I could come up specifically and say, right, this is what it's going to be called. It didn't even have a name for the longest time. It didn't have a name, but then I went, the Summerlands project. Oh my God, that fits. It just fitted. It just went, that's totally it. So thing. But so my next point is to now get some branding around it and everything like that. And yeah, we're working on that. But at the moment, I just need the community. I just need the people and the followers at the moment for it. So because ultimately, I'm always going to be like, hey, I need your feedback on this, and I'll get people's feedback, always wanting it, because I want to make sure what I'm building is not something that's just good for me. It's ultimately something that's going to be for the community, not just Gold Coast, because ultimately if it works on the Gold Coast, we can take that concept and share it in other areas of course, Australia and the world, so I think, which is of course, another hope and dream. Besides the bigger complex I want, but that's the bigger complex is something I want on the Gold Coast, yes, but that's my ultimate dream. The other one is also the proof of concept works, this little creation, this center, then we can take it to things like US and the UK and other areas of the world and Australia to help, to make, just to help. Just so want to help in that space because I know how stressful it is. It's just when you've got a senior pet and even though it's healthy, it's a case of there's still stresses in regards to health because now it's old, there's still certain needs it needs. And then when it starts going towards its end of life, it starts needing hospice and palliative care. Oh my God, that's when it starts to get stressful, and you start doubting yourself, and it's like, oh my God. And then there's the whole afterwards where, it's passed on, and it's that stress of the grief. And then people saying it's just a cat, it's just a dog. I sit there and I go, no, it's not. So yeah, it's the case of I just know because I've been through it and I've seen it happen to a lot of my pet clients for my Gold Coast Pets business. I'm just like going, yeah, I think now's a good time to start this. So yeah.
I wish I had something like that 2 years ago when we lost our first pet, our first and only pet. Yeah, so it was like towards the end, like 13 years, just short of 14 years, and the decline was so drastic and so sudden. We didn't know what to do. It's like one day he's walking about, next day he's like fallen over and he can't get up, and then you just look declining day by day. And this was a pet we'd had before we had kids even, so he was like our first kid,
Yeah.
And then all you can do is just hear the vet say, and it's very clinical. At the time, you can't really like take it in. It sounds so horrible that you can't do anything else except to say, oh, he needs to be put down because otherwise he's suffering. And it's like, and you feel so torn and irresponsible somehow.
Yes, totally. I'm hearing you. Believe me, I'm hearing you, because I've had both what I call both scenarios happen to me. I've had one where the cat went through animal hospice and palliative care, and she even went through chemo. Like this is back when I was a stripper and I had the money. she went through chemo and she went through all sorts of stuff, and in the end I extended her life by about 4 or 5 months, but she was skin and bones, and it was really painful to see her and like that. And I went, no, now's the time, definitely. And then on the flip side, what I call the flip side, the other scenario is that I had a cat, and he was about 11, 12 at the time, and he got diagnosed with diabetes. Now, here's the thing, what some people may not realize with animals is diabetes in animals, usually they can overcome it. With some treatment, they can actually overcome it. Unlike us, we get stuck with it. If we get diabetes, we're done. That's it. We get stuck with it for life. Cats and dogs, with a little bit of treatment, can usually overcome it. But because he was really elderly, like 11, 12, already elderly, he was never going to overcome it. And so we're doing twice daily injections for him for years. And he got to about 14, 15, and his eyesight started going because of the diabetes. And then about when he was like nearly 16, like, in his 15th year, he had one bad day. I saw it when I was there. I saw him have that bad day, and I went, that's what he's got to look forward to. I'm like going, no, I can't do that to him. And so, yes, some people might say to me, I probably did it too soon. But you know what? I felt like I was giving him a release from what was going to happen. It was not going to be good. Believe me, if I let him live another 2 years, it was only going to get worse. There's no getting better sort of thing. So I went, no, I'm going to put him to sleep now, because pure fact that I feel that's the best thing, sort of thing. And so that's where I can understand, like, some people feeling like they extended their pet's life too far. Like, she was skin and bones, my other cat, really skin and bones, hardly eating, blah, 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 really at the end of her life version. And then at this other version, doing it before it got too bad, sort of thing. And I'm in the end, and you know what? I understand, because of pure fact, I did both sides go, oh, did I extend her life too far? Should I have let him live? At the same time, no, That's okay. Their journeys, they kind of always give you the heads up. I've always believed this. Animals always kind of give you the heads up when it's time, sort of thing. Then you may not realize they're giving you the heads up, but they do, sort of thing. And it's just what it is. It's just what it is. There's no, and I'm big on taking the shame, the stigma out of that, and just allowing people to grieve and move on, sort of thing. Eventually, it's a case of, so people think, of course, when they get another animal, am I replacing the other animal? No, you're never replacing. It's just the other animal has allowed you the space to accept another being into your life. That's all that's happened, and sort of thing. So, yeah. You can see why I'm so passionate about it. I get it. I totally love that. I totally love talking about it, and I totally get it.
I can see that. I can see that. I can feel that right across the ether. Now, I'm very mindful that it's 101 now, and we did say it was a 60-minute webinar. So if anyone wants to keep up with what Vanessa O'Brien's doing with the Summerlands project, please follow her, petlovebiz.com. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for joining us today, and thank you for all of you who have made the time to be here. We really appreciate spending this time with you, sharing something that's so important to all of us in business. So till the next webinar, keep up and keep doing what you're doing and being brilliant. Have a fantastic day, all of you. Thanks, Vanessa.